now I have my mic on after forgetting to actually turn the settings to have my mic on. Alright, welcome back to another stream. We have a couple tornado warnings going on right now, but for the most part, with what we have mostly out there right now is severe thunderstorm warnings. We have a few severe thunderstorm warnings down here in Kansas, which is where our Hansford is. We have a couple of them up here in Nebraska. We got, I think, one over here in Colorado, actually. Yeah, actually, yeah, 1, 2, 3. That's like a few, yeah, basically a few in Nebraska. We have this one tornado warning that is on the Colorado side of things. I need to switch over to the Goodland radar here, which a little bit of an interesting little thing that's been going on for a while. So this is from earlier with the radar scan. So this is 5:05 p.m. Central Time. And if we go ahead in time here, you can see this was hooking earlier. And you see these two cells, they're basically splitting. One's splitting off towards the right and the other one's splitting off towards the left. And we did actually have a brief tornado, looks like, up here in, what is this Nebraska here. Which, if we go back a little bit on this too, which these storms up here are moving very slowly. I mean, you can see all these storms initiating. This is also where our low pressure is at over here, our area of area of low pressure. This was reported by emergency management at this. Well, the report time is 5:25, but was issued, I think, at what time was this issued at? Hold on, if it loads. Well, at 4:40 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, so because this is a whole other time zone over here once you get into like Colorado and all that. But yeah, all right, what's up, Party Cheese? It's been a couple weeks since I've been live, but that is mainly, I mean, that's mainly because, well, it's been, other than mesoscale events, it's been pretty quiet for the most part, I will say. It will be interesting to see what June kind of brings out of the hat, I guess you could say. See, I'll scoot up my chair real quick here. Went to the thrift store today, got some WWE DVDs. I'm also collecting those now. So, not sure if I've ever heard people collect those, but I mean, DVDs are a very collectible item, or items, I guess you could say. Oh, hiccup. Also, one thing I didn't go over yet in this stream here is our categorical outlook, which right now, I mean, we got a big old slight risk area. And then we got our main risk area, which is the area down here in Kansas, which I found it kind of funny that the enhanced risk area, which is a wind-driven one, it's only like, it literally only stems from the southern point tip of Kansas all the way up to like this northern part of Kansas. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some interesting outlooks before, like last year where there was this tiny moderate area in northeastern, I think, Mississippi last year. Last day of school, June 1st, and that's also, as to say, that's also so your last day of school is the first day of hurricane season. How about them apples? Turn on the sensitivity a little bit of my mic here. So I'm using my HyperX quadcast because I'm still trying to diagnose what the issue is with my Rode mic. On Friday, a apple hot dropped from the roof at school. It knocked out a kid. Who's dropping apples from the roof of all? Like, who? Okay, dropping things from the roof, I can like understand if you're like doing like something like random science experiment, but who's dropping apples from the roof of a school, man? Like who? I sound like an owl right now. Whoo! Literally probably hear literally every click I do right now. Yeah, just keyboard and mouse ASMR now. Let me give me a second. Let me turn on these compressor and expander. That probably helps a little bit with not my entire background being picked up all at once. Although I probably need to turn down my thing a little bit here. All right, there we go. Good. There's a surge of wind over there from earlier. But I'd be surprised if there was something that tried to like if we had like this little area right here and maybe something there, but I'd be surprised if we had maybe a couple attempts or so of something trying to spin up with this big old complex of this big old blob, I guess, of storms. Wow, that is a. I mean, I've seen smaller tornado warnings before. There was one last year in New Mexico that was the size of like the half of the size of this. Trying to get my YouTube link over to Twitter, and the first thing that pulls up is YouTube Shorts. Great, great, just great. Amazing. Did I already post? Unless I already posted it. I'm already forgetting. No, I did not post it yet. I think this is. Well, actually, no, it's not the first time, and ever that I heard my keyboard because my setup at my dorm would be the other place you would be able to hear. You would hear my keyboard at. See here. I know I looked at surface observations earlier, but I have not shown the meso analysis yet, and also the reason why I have a 1 second. Okay, there we go. Oh, and my mic, my webcam actually works on this window now. That's a first. I don't know why it didn't work the other times. I know I had it on, so it's weird. OBS being OBS, I guess, perhaps. Yeah, as you can see, this is our low level lapse rates, and they're pretty steep in the low levels. And then if we look at our mid levels, which is another section we kind of look at, especially for our hail threat, and yeah, pretty steep in the mid levels, especially where our hail threat is at between these areas here. And let me. I don't think that is a one. No, there is my mouse. I'm like, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse cursor or not, but no, it is there. But here's the D cape or downdraft cape, and yeah, we got values well over 1,000 since we got mixing and low. We got dry air in the low levels, and that's gonna be contributing to the downdraft production, and then that'll be bringing our wind threat. Which right now we got a couple complexes of storms. These are, I mean, they're all slowly congealing together, so it's probably at least a couple hours from now, probably around 7, 8 o'clock perhaps, before we see start really seeing a linear line of storms, especially where our main threat is at, and where our tornado threat is at, which is over here in Nebraska. That's where we're gonna be focusing more for our discrete storm threat, which we have a couple discrete storms out there right now. It's just right now it's just a matter of whether or not they actually do produce or not, or if they are, well, if they're discrete, but also if they end up being surface based as well. Because if you don't have a surface based storm, then they're gonna be mainly wind and hail threat. And I think looking at our surface observations, yeah, they got an 82/61. So you can see where I mean, it's probably still pretty dry up here for the most part. And you can see where our dry line is too, because you got a 95/36 here, 95/55 here. So I think there's still areas within our risk right now that are still a little bit too warm at the surface right now. So, I mean, we already had a tornado in Colorado, but I think our storms are going to be struggling a little bit for right now before they get going in terms of our tornado threat. I don't actually. What is our shear? Our bulk shear. I mean, our shear's not. Our shear's not. It's not the highest I've ever seen. Because looking at bulk shear, our highest bulk shear is over here, and then we got 20, 25 knots in these areas here. About 20, 25, maybe 30 knots over here where these cells are at. I'm curious what our vorticity looks like. Which vorticity being spin? There's a bunch of spin, which I mean. There's going to be a bunch of vorticity over here since we're near the low. Not a ton of vorticity here. There's a little bit of vorticity, but not a ton. I'm kind of curious what our photograph... yeah. Okay, photographs are, I mean, pretty... I mean, they're, for the most part, pretty curved for the most part, but... I'm trying to get to the other... Trying to get back to the radar here, and I just not want to do things. Also, I think I put Kansas in Colorado when it's Nebraska and Colorado. All right, well, first um mistake of the day with me not being able to use my eyes and seeing what the 20 warnings are in terms of what states are in. That's great job by me as per usual with using my eyes. Yes. I will say with I mean, you can see how slow the storms are moving too. Where we had that tornado with the one up here in Nebraska, well, at least a brief tornado that moves slow. You can see it just barely moving, and we definitely had some decent sized hail with this probably too. Probably at least around maybe a couple golf balls in there, but probably around ping pong. I would if I had to guess. This Speaking of golf ball, this one is born for golf ball size hail still, but that was probably when it was back. Let me go back a little bit. That was when it was at this stage here, but now, I mean, we are far from radar, but I mean, let me now that I've actually figured out how to change tilt in radar omega after like forever. Yeah, even looking at the upper tilts, yeah, I don't know if we have that large of hail. We did get a quarter-size hail port. So there is that. I'm kind of curious where that tornado report ended up. And it ended up our 2% area. Also, speaking of our 2% our tornado threat, we do have a. I know I mentioned it in the community tab post, but I want to talk a little bit more on the stream here, which we have this 5% going through Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado with the 5% area, and then we have this 2% SIG one outside of it for more of an isolated threat with a strong tornado. I'm kind of curious. Where is in terms of our wind reports right now, which we have three. We've had two that haven't occurred inside our 30. So far, we really haven't had anything stronger, at least in terms of what was reported. We got 60 over here, and then we got 60. I saw 64, I think, over here. We actually got a new report actually here, 549, 60 mile per hour wind gust there. Definitely got some hail dropping out of that near Ogalla, and that's in South Dakota. That's also not. That's I don't know about you guys, but I like watching like radar, especially when you have. I mean, you can see these just making these storms are making their way up northwest here. We actually got a couple flash flood watches over here near Montana and Wyoming. Wyoming and Montana got a bunch of flash flood type of stuff here going on. We did actually have a report over here for ping pong sized hail. Time estimated from radar. Source storm chaser. I'm kind of curious. Who is over here? Trying to see. Do I have? I do have my. Well, I do have my cyclone port on. Just that most of the storm chases right now are up in Nebraska. I don't know how many storm chasers are down here in Kansas. But well, actually, let me turn on Spider Network. I'm kind of curious because I know there's definitely at least could be quite a few. Okay, so there is quite a few down here in Kansas. You got a bunch of them over near Wichita. And then you got, of course, the ones over here in the tornado watch area. Well, some in the severe dose watch, but generally the area where we have our tornado threat at for the most part. Also, our tornado warning up here in Kansas, just not Kansas, Nebraska just went observed again. So we have a confirmed tornado on the ground again in Nebraska. And that was, well, I don't know if it's going to show what was just recently reported, but at least in terms of an actual report, like thing, like what we see here. All right, so this was damaging tornado, ping pong, ball size hail, weather spider, confirmed tornado. So there was a confirmed tornado in that area again, or at least general area, I should say, by weather spotter. Oh, that well, I mean, makes sense that Daniel Shaw and all that is in that Detroit warning up it. Well, where it was, wait, tornado warning storm to Hagler. I think it was this storm here. Let me see. Hagler. Oh no, he's all the well. Okay, yeah, it was the storm down here, not the one up here. I was gonna say if it was the one up here, then I guess maybe it would make sense. With wherever he be, I guess. I don't know. Oh, kind of curious what rotation looks like on this even, because I mean, because if this was just reported not too long ago, I mean that looks like side lobe contamination. We must have like a really small area of rotation in here. I would not be surprised if that is the case. Let me turn off Spider Network. I didn't want to click on Power Outage US thingy. Because there is a power. Well, they got the thing with power outages map on here that you can see the power outages. Is there any power outages? There is. Potawatomi County and Nebraska. Not Nebraska. Can I say the proper states today? Holy. You got a couple counties up here in Montana there. Well, yeah, a couple of them in Montana. They got a couple in Idaho. A couple of them actually in Kansas. Well, we know I saw this one earlier, but there was this one here, which this is probably a power outage. Last updated at 5:53 p.m., which is probably because this wind damage report right here that that we well the general area because of that wind damage report there. There's a wind damage not wind damage report. There's a power outages up there in Fond du Lac County in Wisconsin. Interestingly. And we got power outages over here because there was severe dust storming over here earlier. And you can see those strong winds too. And that is definitely, I mean, when you have strong winds, that'll cause power outages and whatnot. And that's definitely the strong wind gusts that cause all that. And now we got gusty winds going through Springfield now. There's also a severe dust watch down here between Oklahoma and Texas. The probabilities on that, mainly wind and hail on that, which I mean makes sense considering that is what the outlook was for down here. I don't know. Well, it's out that didn't go down to here. Let's see. Locally damaging winds from here. I know they posted something about it. Obviously, they posted about it on their Twitter, but if they even made a Mezoscale discussion around this, I don't even remember. Oh no, wait, they did, but it's not on here anymore because it expired. Oop. There was a weak tornado threat on this area down here, but mainly though, main threats being wind and hail for that along the dry line in Oklahoma. All right. Well, we no longer have a tornado warning up here. Looks like. So they went to observe it and they just let that expire out, I guess. Actually, hold on, let me check. Yeah, it got canceled out. Yeah. All right. Bro, I've been going for 23 minutes. It does not feel like 23 minutes, but that's probably because it's been a long day. Like, because today I had to do I had to do yard work and we had to move a bunch of mulch back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, so here's weather-wise. So finally, well, I'm on a different browser now because I can't get my weather-wise on my Firefox be fixed because the color table that I put for the correlation coefficient completely broke everything. I'm like, man, that's not what I needed right now. My nose itching. Can it not itch? All right, 12 hours. All right, there we go. There's actually a trail port down here. Interesting. What is this? This was reported 7 minutes ago. Is there even any storm? Oh, there is a storm. 3 miles east of Union, Colorado. Event time 6:05. So that's 7 minutes ago. So I'm guessing the tornado port is. I'm guessing. I mean, because one, it's Colorado. Uh, so you're gonna see land spouts, but wouldn't be surprised if it's you got like some type of land spout type of thing going on there. Wow, there's actually a lot more reports than what Radar Omega was showing. Yeah, you can see there's your tornado warning. I expect sprout with the next 2 minutes here. So all right, well there's the watch update. Also, another interesting thing as well. I do like how Weatherwise does weather like reports because there's reports you don't typically see on Radar Omega. Because I mean, Radar Omega you'll see reports if they're 60 or higher, or somewhere like 50 or higher than that. But you won't see like all this with these. Okay, this is red for some reason. But yeah, you won't see these reports here on Radar Omega, which is kind of annoying because some of those reports are, well, I say some, but a lot of those reports are going to be really useful for knowing what's going on. And that severe dose warning expires. Yeah, okay, we got a couple that just expired out. They actually got the severe dose warning. So it's for a policy I got it, surprisingly. Wall cloud, that was reported 30 minutes ago. Because there was a wall cloud on the storms over here earlier. But obviously, now that the storms are split, you can see these are definitely starting to fizzle out a little bit as they make their way up north here. I probably turn off. I already have that off. Okay, turn that off now, because now that well, tornado warning. Oh, actually, never mind. The tornado warning is gone now, pretty much. It's just that well, it's just officially expired out, but I actually got a couple of fog reports. Interesting. These are from 10 hours ago, 10 or more hours ago. So let me go back to this, and then let me go to like 6 hours ago. That way, it's not getting reports that are like so old, that are not even relevant at this point. All right, we got a severe dust storm down here in Kansas. Let me actually increase the border thickness here for states. There we go, and that should be good. All right, so yeah, we got a couple of wind reports here. We got a 60 here. That's not even an arrow. That's a broken half of not even half a triangle. That is a pointy pointy line out. Oh, hello, welcome. Indeed, yes. Which actually will be tomorrow actually. And as of right now, the Atlantic is quiet, but the Pacific right now has a big old red blob. Which with the 7 day they have 80%, but the 2 day they have 0 as of current. Which all that activity there in this section is be watched for there. I haven't really talked about that activity too much on the community tab, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm so focused right now on whatever this season brings with the Atlantic, which I mean it's gonna be probably quiet for probably a couple months or so. Tropical spirit, yeah, tongue tweet. No, can't speak English today. Oh my god. Yeah, tropical disturb. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, tropical disturbance in the Eastern Pacific. I haven't really talked about it too much in the community tab. I haven't looked at well, I looked at it yesterday, but I haven't really looked at Anzals too much with anything going on. Because trying to see what's going on if anything happens in the Atlantic, which right now not really a whole lot going on there. Too much wind shear. And they also got the Saharan dust coming off of Africa too, so that also inhibit things too, which is pretty typical for June when it comes to the Saharan dust. Yeah, won't be interesting to see because I mean I wouldn't be surprised if I mean the Eastern Pacific is definitely gotta get going way before the Atlantic does. It usually does. Also a typhoon. I did not know there was a typhoon. I knew there was a like some kind of tropical storm in I think it's the Western Pacific, but I didn't realize it was a typhoon at this point. Let's see, it's a Category 1 typhoon currently, and that's as of 1 p.m. So that was like 5 hours ago. What is that? I'm not super familiar with how the Joint Typhoon Warning Center does their what how they do their like outlook intervals like the National Hurricane Center. How busy do you think the 2026 hurricane season will be? For the Eastern Pacific, I think it's definitely busy. For the Atlantic, I think it's gonna be pretty. I wouldn't say completely quiet, but it's definitely gonna be not as active of what we have seen in the past couple of years. I mean, even last year was not like. There was a bunch of hurricanes and tropical storms last year, but definitely definitely not as active for sure from what we've seen in the past couple of years. Because you also got to factor in the case that we got El Nino now, so and that's I need to drink water because I have like a slight headache right now. Yeah, if you were in a La Nina year, I think we would be much more active than what we're gonna see in the Atlantic this year. What am I being DM'd? Apparently, I've had okay. That's the one thing about Twitter chat. It's it SBC Centerville sent me a DM on Wednesday. Never saw a notification for it. But today I saw a notification for what he just sent like 4 or 5 minutes ago. I don't understand. It was so much faster when it was just the regular DM system they had, like before Twitter chat was a thing. First name will be Amanda and Eastern Pacific, and then the Atlantic for Atlantic it's what is Arthur if I remember correctly. All right, going on a trip soon. So as I say, sounds about right for well, I mean, guess sounds about right for this time of year with I guess it's like I want to say it's like a vacation. Yeah, I can't, seriously. As I, you know what? I'm wearing my headset like this now. You know what? We're doing it. Yeah, I cannot see my chat or anything, so we're gonna go with it. But all right. Anyways, as I was saying, I guess it's like about the time of year where people are going on vacations and stuff like that. I want to take a look at the RTMA. Which is the because the last time it was updated was 23Z, so that was probably like about 24 minutes ago, probably. Let's see. Where is? Yeah, so it was updated 24 minutes ago now. I'm trying to drag over the thing, and it's not letting you drag over. All right, so here is the RTMA, and yeah, it's definitely a warm one out there between Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and to Nebraska. It looks like, and you can see. Actually, going a little bit here, central U.S. You can see these spots here where our convection is actually at too. Actually, you got a couple spots down here. I think we do have some spots though that I mean, there's some spots that are a little bit larger than others. Do we actually have storms down here in northern Oklahoma, or are those just? No, we do not have storms down there, or at least we didn't. We don't have any now. Doesn't seem like there were any. Yeah, there doesn't seem like there were any earlier. If I can spit out a sentence, because that is one thing. There's some spots that will be cooler because they're like either a lake, pond, or something like that. And you got cooler spots up here because that's the mountains, but generally where you have these spots like this, that's where your convection is at. So these cooler spots in between your warmer spots. Another wind report up here. This is actually observed for both half dollar size hail and 60 mile per hour winds. This one is 70, but radar indicates golf ball. All right, we have a new mesoscale discussion. So here's that. So isolated wind and hail threat continues. They do have a tornado threat, which if we did see a couple of tornadoes at this complex here, just little, I don't this well, it's a little spot, I guess, but mainly wind and hail. I'm surprised that I mean, I guess our more discrete cells will have that large hail threat, but our more linear areas like I've had that wind threat. Ugh. Whoa. Okay, we got big size hail ports over there. Warm for baseball size hail now and 60-mile-per-hour winds. We actually had a trying to click on it. 2-inch size hailstone measured. Whew, I got some big chunky size hail. Also, I don't know if I don't even know if I was even if I think I don't even remember if I was alive. Oh, last week I got the boot off. It might have been last week when I got the boot off. I don't remember. But yeah, now I'm in an ankle brace, or have been in an ankle brace now for a while. So slow process of getting back into walking normally again here after crashing on a electric scooter. Which I mean, not that it was not that's a fun thing, but yeah, not fun. So I'm not surprised with the hail threat, considering I mean we do have a Sig 1 hail, which is hail 2 inches, 2+ inches in diameter, which we just had a hail port that was a 2-inch size hailstone. So I want to take a look at the ensembles while I'm at it because I have not taken a look at the ensembles in a while. Some stuff that the Euro's starting to pick up on. What the FN3? Yeah, other than the GFS, I mean GEFS, I should say. That's just GFS, but the GEFS, which is the ensemble version of the GFS, Euro and the Google model are not picking up on too much of anything. Maybe maybe a few members. That's about it. I can't believe hurricane season already getting closer. It is it is quite something, I will say. Especially the fact that I mean severe weather will continue throughout the year, obviously, but hurricane season comes quick, I guess. Hey, yup. There's still severe storms during hurricane season. I mean, last year in June, we had a few severe weather setups. One of the more historic ones being June 20th, which we had the first EF5 tornado in 12 years. And then the derecho as well during that day, which was also historic too. Which I mean, there's probably there's years that are probably more active than others when it comes to June severe weather, but typically June through August, I mean, it's not as active as what you would see during like March, April, May, since your jet stream gets bent up northward, or at least typically gets bent up north, and then you get a pattern like of that, like a ridge, like that. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say generally, but something like that, for example, I guess. Yeah, all it takes is just the right trough to get severe weather. And quite a few short waves. Which actually let me hold on 1 second. Where is Alright, so here is this is 12Z Euro, so this is from this morning. And you can see here's your low right here, and then you got this ridge in the middle here, and then you got another low because we still have that omega block pattern, and then going into the future, this is the Euro shows this really weird stretched out, like I don't even know what's going on here, and you can still see this ridge, even down here. There's a bit of ridging too, but yeah, and then you get this low area of low down here, almost kind of like probably. I'm guessing this is probably some type of cutoff low if I had to guess, but it does look like it's still, at least according to the wind vector sheet, it looks like it's still connected to the main jet stream, but they indeed can have also, yeah, they also can indeed have tornadoes, yes. Although that is typically before landfall, and you also typically find tornadoes in the northeast quadrant of a tropical storm or hurricane. Last year we had, was it last year or was no, wait, because it was Hurricane Milton that we had the. So that was 2 years ago that we had Hurricane Milton go towards Florida, and before landfall and the outer bands, there was a whole. Basically, it looked like a tornado outbreak you would see in the plains, essentially. That's how many tornadoes you would. That's how many tornadoes happened, and also what the tornadoes look like, essentially. Although typically when you get tornadoes with hurricanes, I mean they're typically, I mean they could be on the stronger side of things, EF2, EF3, but typically you'll have more weaker tornadoes with outer bands of hurricanes, so like EF0, EF1 range. Although of course with tornadoes they can even with the weaker end tornadoes, they can still cause a bunch of damage still. Speaking of tornado, I think we have an area that is rotating here. And that is over a rural area here. That is actually okay. That is a tight. Speaking of tight rotation, that is a tightening area rotation. I'm surprised that's not warned yet. Unless it does end up going warned in a second here, we'll see. Check a couple other areas here. Maybe an area convergence, something trying to converge here, a few miles south of Holyoke in Colorado. Also, something somewhere with some of these cells here, but all right, latest scan came in for this thing. Still think we have at least some type of rotation on this thing. See if it's at least consistent with going up in tilts. Yeah, it's pretty consistent going up in tilts. Alright, they just issued a big old severe dust warning for this thing. Gulf plus ICL, 60-mile-per-hour winds, no tornado pulse tag on it though. Also, wouldn't be surprised if we had perhaps maybe a small debris signature with this, maybe. But doesn't seem like anything really popped up on CC, so. Alright, new severe dust warning down here. This guy condensed, zero line to expire out with the next 4 minutes. Course I sale 60. This actually worked for $half and 60. Got a semi-power wind report there, Weston Newton. That is, where's that in terms of that is in the 30. You know, because I'm trying to compare it to see with our wind reports, seeing where things kind of pop up and whatnot. Kind of see where things pop up in our severe risk for today. Oh, of course, there's a severe dust over near Fort Stockton. Of course. Yeah, I got a couple severe dust warnings near, well, it's not completely near Fort Stockton, but east of Fort Stockton, of course. I swear, elevation is, when it comes to severe weather, is something of the sort, I will say. Because when you have elevation with different types of elevation, it does I don't know if it affects your air parcel, but your air parcel travels differently in your environment. So if you have elevated area like over here in the Sand Hills, Nebraska, your your air parcel will have a easier time getting through. Say if you have like a cap in place, your air parcel will have an easier time getting through that. Now, obviously, if you have a strong cap in place, then yeah, nothing's gonna really fire. But if you have like a, let's say like a weaker cap in place, then yeah, your air parcel is not gonna struggle at least too much. But then, of course, you got mesoscale interactions that can happen too, and now kind of help things kind of push along too. So got another spear dorsal warning as before. Golf plus a tail, 60-mile-per-hour wind. Kind of curious. This is probability on this tornado watch was 50-20. So I mean, it wasn't I mean, it's not super high probability of a strong tornado, but there's a potential for a strong tornado. That is one thing I've always been curious about is how many, because obviously in more rural areas, like very rural areas, you're not gonna have a lot of like reports, which makes me wonder how many tornadoes have gone unreported because of certain areas that are not easy to access. Another severe swings for quartzite sales 70. Yeah, definitely got. I mean, I could definitely see a lot of these storms here. I mean, definitely not super. I mean, not super discreet, but that doesn't mean we can't get a tornado out of these things. You got some of these that look like shrimp, like this one here, and they got another one down here. They got a couple of cells. They probably have at least a couple of embedded supercells within this. All right, we are back to having a tornado warning, and that's gonna be over here in Yuma, Colorado. Actually, no, not Yuma, Colorado. Yuma County, Colorado. And that tourney warning should be going for 43 minutes. That's be for $half size hail. Radar indicated $half size hail specific. Actually, is this radar indicated hail? Hold on. Max hail size court. When was this? 1 hour ago. Okay. I'm like, because it didn't say anything about radar indicated, so. I was like, maybe there was already observed not half ping pong size hail, but well, let's go back to see what our shrimp are doing here. That is a sentence I never would have thought I'd be saying on stream, but you know what? There's a lot of things that have been said on these streams that are that need to be in a Hall of Fame, honestly, I swear. Hall of Words. No, I did not want to load up Spotify. Try to go to the Storm Prediction Center site. And so far, we've had, 2 tornado reports. Which, they're pretty brief tornadoes for the most part. That is one thing I think is definitely gonna hinder some of our tornado threat for up here. Is definitely gonna be storm mode. Because we've seen many times, I mean, not that we couldn't get the tornadoes out of this, but we've seen many times before where we have our storm mode looking like this, and that kind of hinders the tornado threat. Or, well, not completely end it, but definitely for sure hinder it. I'll be right back real quick. chair. All right. So I think we just had a new severe thunderstorm warning. Think issued somewhere. I think it might have been this one. I check. No, this one got this one. Okay, this one is not new, but it got updated. That's what I saw. Okay. So this is warned right now for 60 and Gulf Wall Side Stable. Did actually have a 72-mile-per-hour wind report from earlier, which was half hour ago. 72 miles per hour, and then yeah, 64 down over here. Still got this running warning still going on. This going for about half hour ish, and also $half size. Not half. I keep saying $half size hail, but it's ping pong size. Yeah, $half inch and quarter, but this is inch and half, which is ping pong. Starting to see more hail ports starting to pop up down here, which a couple of these are actually from like multiple hours ago, but I say, and by multiple I mean like at least 2 or more hours ago. You have a 7-mile-per-hour wind report from 28 minutes ago from this cell here that was producing damage and wind gusts. And that is now moved off towards the northeast. We have a new complex of storms down over here west of Wichita, which is warned right now for 60 and ping pong. Otherwise, so far we really haven't. Other than a couple brief tornadoes, we haven't really seen too much of a tornado threat today. Today's definitely. Not that tornadoes wouldn't have been a main threat, but the main threats we've really seen today has been mainly wind and hail. Our wind threat, I don't know if we've seen more wind reports from up here or down here. Let me see here. Kansas has more damaging wind. Well, there's a couple damaging wind reports, but just general wind reports, there's more in Kansas. And there's a bunch inside our 30% that we have out there right now from our midday day one outlook. Ugh. Wow, that's something. So the tornado warning that was, before this was updated, the tornado warning that this was earlier had population 486. The updated one has 379. So, let me pull out my calculator here. So that is 186 minus 379. So that's 107 people that are no longer in a tornado warning. Well then, that is that's interesting. Let me actually go back a little bit. Okay, that explains a lot, because definitely it does seem like there's towns over here, but it's probably more like just rural housing and farms over here in this section. Because there's a lot of rural areas in Colorado. Colorado. I actually got storm chasers out in I got some over in Colorado, but there's some storm chasers that are out in Texas actually. There's some storms just that drove through Wellfleet, Nebraska earlier, it looks like. And there's probably some that are still in that area, which last year in Wellfleet, we had a very photogenic tornado. It was like the most tornado-looking tornado you will ever see. Like, you know those tornadoes you see in your science book? It looked like that. I'm kind of curious, what are, I know in chat, the... Let me keep that up. Let me go over tropical tidbits. Because I know there's a typhoon that was mentioned. Yeah, look at that. And this is the LWIR. You can see it spinning. Think the Eastern Pacific will be more busy than Atlantic. Yeah, I mean, it more than likely will for the most part. I mean, like I said earlier, just considering El Nino, wind shear's got to be a lot stronger across the Atlantic than it is in the Eastern Pacific. And also, we just went and observed with the tornado warning in Colorado. So we now have a confirmed tornado on the ground. This was confirmed by Weather Spot. Weather Spot confirmed tornado in northern Yuma County. Damage to tornado and ping pong ball size hail. Moving north at 20 miles per hour. So this is a slow moving tornado we have in Colorado. And we also have a new mesoscale discussion as well. So let me pull that up while we're at it. So here's the new mesoscale discussion. Severe threat continues. So let's see what the discussion is. So thunderstorms continue to develop in an arc from northeast Colorado east into western Nebraska, then southeast into central Kansas evening. Region is likely being glanced by large scale ascent, so lift. Negatively tilted shortwave over central Colorado and eastern Wyoming. Additionally, this area is likely experiencing a large-scale ascent associated with a 300 millibar subtropical jet subtle shortwave trough lifting northeast across the central U.S. So you got the subtropical jet and a shortwave that's pushing up lift and, well, moisture. And we have another tornado warning now. 2 tornado warnings in Colorado. And this is going to be covering the Holyoke and Paoli areas there with that tornado warning. Let's see, this is northern Yuma County. This is gonna definitely be one of those times where rotation is gonna be a little bit more subtle than it normally is. Most unstable cave values across the region are quite extreme. 4,000 along and ahead of the northward moving arc of convection. Deep layer shear or the bulk shear that you can see on the meso analysis. Across the line remains on a weaker side for organized convection. Only 25 to 35 knots objectively analyzed. That said, shear vectors are mostly orthogonal. What is? I don't know if I don't think I've ever seen that word in my entire life. What is of involving right angles to the initiating boundary, and the extreme instability should support a continuous for large channel damaging winds. Increasing, so little jets also forecast to increase in strength as well, which they say may it support a more favorable environment for a tornado or two. Interestingly, with this tornado warning here, they dropped the hail on it. This one, they still have the ping pong size hail being possible on it, but also I can't imagine the CC drop is gonna be too. Yeah, it's not gonna be showing at all on the CC since it's not a super strong tornado or anything. This probably says the same thing. 10 miles southwest of Holyoke. So if there is a tornado, it probably would have been in this general area here. But as I was saying, not the rotation is not it's not super subtle, other than maybe this little area convergence there. But interesting. There is a funnel cloud report over here from 7 minutes ago up here, east northeast of Fairfield, Colorado, which I am seeing a little area here on this. Is this a rotating shower? Is there that much vorticity in our environment today that the showers are rotating now too? Wow, that is quite the outflow there coming from the storms over here. All that this big old line right here is all outflow. This line make its way this way. So far, I mean, I haven't heard anything about in terms of land spouts in Colorado, but Colorado land spouts go hand in hand. be some outflow. Because I don't think that's our dry line. That's definitely our some outflow from storms from out over here. Although, I mean, we could have the case because there are cases where you have the dry line and it retreats, and then the cold front comes in. So this is okay. So this surface analysis is from 4 p.m. here. All right, so let's take a look. Let me go to because the temperature's not gonna help at all. Let me go to dew point. Wow, that is dry. Holy, 9-degree dew point in Oakley there. I got a new severe dust warning for 60-mile-per-hour winds. There's some small size hail that could be dropped on that, but mainly wind. Severe dust warning up here for quarter and 60. Both those are actually observed. Actually, more wind reports. I think actually, how many? Which one is the most recent one? It might have been. I know it's this one for sure. 20 minutes ago, 58-mile-per-hour wind report there. Yeah, and I mean you can see some spots over at this section here. We got 48 degrees, 49 degrees, and that's in our tornado watch area. That's not going to be favorable for tornadoes in that section there. All right, still got the observed tornado tagged tornado warnings. One's actually extension of the other, but these are still going. One's going for another 17 minutes, and the other one's going for 32 minutes. We'll see if those end up continuing. Which I mean, will probably be continuing for a while with the observed tag. Not looking super. I mean, it's not super like. I don't want to say super interesting, but not super close area of convergence. If there is anything, still rotating in there. It seems pretty broad rotation, at least aloft. But let's take a look at our tilts here, get a better idea what we're looking at. Probably the most we're gonna have to go here is probably 1.3. And if we did have a tornado early, okay, so I can see where we probably had the tornado earlier, and then that would be what we continuing towards the north here. Then we go down a tilt, and yeah, it kind of. I think our rotation is definitely weakened since the last couple scans, because that seems to be more or less just broad rotation now. I haven't seen anything in terms of updates on that. Oh no, it's updated actually. Just updated probably just a little bit ago actually. Because I gotta remember that because I'm not used to the because I don't really do live coverages or anything for the Pacific, so I gotta remember that the Pacific outlooks come out at a certain amount at certain times, which is actually probably the same times it does with the Atlantic, but it's just the time zone I gotta remember. So 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. They have kept it at a they've kept it at an 80. 2 day is still at 0. And of course, as I was mentioning earlier in the stream, not seeing that could be seeing anything for a while on the Atlantic. Which let me go over to tropical tidbits because this is the one thing I use besides weather nerds for weather forecasting. So here is the ensemble model of the Euro here, and this is 12Z, so we have all our hours on here, and yeah, you can see not a ton going on in the Atlantic side of things. Although the Euro picks up something there, but that's probably because it's low pressure here, and it does pick up on this here too. Like it picks up a couple of things when it comes to this section here. Wish I can do the cross section on the ensemble, but oh well. And then the Euro picks up this little thing. One member picks up something there, but yeah, not and then 0 members picking up. I mean, it's multiple hours out, but not either way. Not a ton going on there. Let me go to Eastern Pacific, and if we go to the Eastern Pacific with the ensemble models, yeah, you can see our ensembles really start lining up over here with activity. And then GFS, yeah, same deal essentially. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be very active on the Pacific side of things. Not so much on the Atlantic and Gulf side of things, which is, I mean, the Atlantic and Gulf is typically not gonna be super active when it comes to hurricane season, at least at the start of it. But although then again, we had Hurricane Beryl a couple of years ago, but that was like more of a rare thing compared to a common thing. All right, there was a trail report from 10 minutes ago. So it looks like, I mean, if we do have a tornado, it's probably, once again, it's probably a weaker end one, more than likely. Oh, I did not click that. Yeah, Colorado is active today for a tornado threat. Although this is near our, I mean, it is near our 5%. So I don't know how. I mean, it's in our 2 and 5% areas for the Sig one. So I don't know how much. I don't know. That's one thing I gotta. I mean, I know. I mean, because I know the verification system with the new Outlook system that we had since March is a little bit different compared to and by a little bit, it's definitely a little bit different compared to how it is with the old system. Because with the old system was the amount of events, but there's skin that is trying to peel off my finger here. Oh, now the okay, now the Aleve is deciding it wants to kick in finally. Try to relieve my headache. That took long enough. Only took like however long. I know I took it like, I mean, I know medicine takes a little while to kick in, but still took long enough. See here, I took it. Let's see how long? About half hour ago. So that's probably actually about how long it takes for a domestic to kick in. Actually, literally using my own stream to figure out how long ago I took it. My own the stream time frame thingy the blanking on what's called right now, but yeah. Wow, we got another big old sphere destroying over here. That's me for 7 mile per winds and a quarter size hail. There, I don't know if there's, I don't know if there's storm chasers on Red or Omega. They're over in Colorado or not. Nope. All in Nebraska. Actually, Tornado Pagey is over in Colorado. Actually, but the only thing is, I mean, a lot of storm chasers that were over on Red Omega are now over on Weatherfront since Max Velocity uh partnered with the Weatherfront, which I am very interested in seeing how that goes with how I mean apparently there was the dev app apparently that that is able to be found, but not the full actual release of Weatherfront, which is supposed to be released in June apparently now, early June. They said early, like last week. They were like early next week, but I guess I mean they're doing finishing touches before fully releasing it. So, but either way, I looked, I took a crack at the dev app, and I am impressed at what the Weatherfront has. So there's definitely a chance I end up using that. The only thing is that the correlation coefficient is the non high res. For the high res, you need their subscription, but which is a bit annoying, but oh well. Yeah, looking at the dev app right now, yeah, there's a lot more reports that you can see on Weatherfront compared to Radar Omega or even Weatherwise, or maybe not Weatherwise, but a lot more than you can see on Radar Omega. Like all of what you can see out here on Weatherwise, that's what you can also see on Weatherfront too, which is nice. I don't know why Radar Omega never made it like that way, but oh well. I guess if you're looking at for something very specific, I guess I don't know. See what we're seeing in terms of wind reports and all that. We actually have one hail report over in Texas, actually. Core size hail report. Wow, there's severe dust watch, and all the storms that were down here uh got choked out, looks like, or fizzled out. And there's your dry line right there, actually, too. This is your dry line. We got a couple interesting things going on right here. I think we got a couple of outfall boundaries. What will they do? Will they initiate more storms or will they not? Let's find out in like an hour. Because those are definitely gonna take a little while. I still got another. Well, this is being a lot to expire with the next 4 minutes, but we still got this tornado warning still going for another 18 minutes. Um, Still have not really seen too much in terms of anything actually on the ground in terms of a tornado. So we might. I'm guessing we had a brief tornado, more brief tornadoes in Colorado. I would not be surprised considering the amount of vorticity out here, but not a ton. It's just just not a lot of shear. Which shear is probably one reason. I mean, one of the reasons why these storms are. I mean, these storms are sustaining themselves, but one of the reasons why we really haven't seen too many tornadoes that are like long track, I guess you could say, or at least tracking for a few minutes or so. We have another severe dust warning up here. It's gonna be for same amount per winds. That's radar indicated. We did have a wind report from a little bit ago, or same amount per winds. We have a very we have this linear line of storms here. I think we probably have. If I had, I would have to imagine because I mean, I don't know if we have like a gust front or something that's also going out in front of all this because I mean we are kind of far from radar in some spots, and there's also some spots that radar can't really see well because terrain exists. There's a couple of large hail ports actually. Where was that? I know one of them was in. Or those, okay, both of them are in Nebraska. Okay. I thought both of them were in Kansas, but I swear that's the one thing I think I probably should have done at the start stream is increase the thickness of the state border lines because that probably would help. I think that's one thing I'm gonna have to do is probably change a bunch of settings with how I do my with my maps. So I can see things a little bit better than. I mean, not that I can't see things well with like the borders of the states, but just make things a little bit easier to see. All right, so I mean, looking at radar here, our whatever storm here that is, I mean, still warned with observe tag on it, but this does look like it's starting to weaken and is like it's like splitting but not splitting. Let me look at Equitops here. See, yeah, I mean it's not as tall as it was with Equitops, but I mean I mean quite tall for a I mean it's tall for a supercell, but it's not. I mean it's not super tall. All right, we have a new mesoscale discussion coming out in a second here. It's gonna be concerning the severe thunderstorm watch 253. Central Kansas, South Central Nebraska. Trail probabilities. Is that this one down here? It is. I think that's even lower tornado probabilities than what they had on the one from earlier. If I'm not mistaken, that is. Let me see. Yeah, that's even lower to what they had earlier. Cause let me show you guys. Alright, so here is that mesoscale discussion I was talking about earlier. So they had wind probably the same 590, tornado 100, 125, and then half not half dollar, ping pong to like tennis ball size hail. And there's two areas that they had highlighted for locally higher tornado potential with the outflow boundaries. And once the latest, not the latest outflow, the latest mesoscale discussion comes out. All right, so here's the latest mesoscale discussion, and yeah, you can see um, much lower probabilities than what they were at earlier. I mean, you still got damaging wind and hail threat, but much lower tornado probabilities since I mean, the outflow boundaries looks like they've moved more south compared to where they were at earlier. So those outflow boundaries have probably stabilized the atmosphere a little bit more than what they were at earlier. If they didn't move to where they are now, then we would have had a much greater tornado threat, or at least where they had a locally higher tornado potential at with these sections here. But since those outflow boundaries have moved, and since outflow boundaries they kind of act like cold fronts, where they stabilize the atmosphere, and yeah, hail and wind threat now for the most part, and downstream watch is possible. It looks like severe wind hail risk will likely spread northeast through the evening. All right, let's check on our ball. Tornado Warning still has 10 minutes on it, technically. Still have ZF0 tag on it, but I have a feeling they're probably gonna just let the expire out if they aren't. If they don't end up canceling it out, that is. That's one thing I've not had up at all this entire stream is my laptop. Normally I have it going, but today was like one of those days. I mean, I wasn't expecting today to be. I mean, it was gonna be active, obviously, but I guess I wasn't expecting it to be super crazy like we've seen with other severe weather setups, perhaps. I realized going back in stream, I just saw a post from Max Velocity and it had this shape. Looks like a lobster. We had a lobster storm from earlier. Yeah, so it looks like they're just letting this tornado warning expire out. Because yeah, the storm is pretty much falling apart at this point. Wow. Okay. Wow. That is a wind gust and a half up here. Holy. 84-mile-per-hour wind report up here near Sunol in Nebraska. Holy. Wow. Okay. As if we didn't already have a big old windbag a couple weeks back in Nebraska and Kansas. New tornado warning. They actually issued a new tornado warning apparently. That's gonna be going for an hour, it looks like. Kind of surprised, but then I mean we are far from radar, but I mean I guess unless we have something with this cell down here, that's the only cell I can really see that maybe has some potential for rotation on it. All right, I could take this off now with the confirmed because I mean even though we got the observe tag on it, we actually have a new tornado. Wait, is this tornado? Apparently, there's one tornado down here. Oh, there's a tornado down here in Nebraska. All right, so we have a tornado warning in Nebraska, and we also got another one up here in well, how far from our? Let me get the. Where's the measurement tool? Hold on, where is it at? There we go. All right, so we'll go from like here to here. So like 65 miles ish from each other with the tornado warnings. From the one in Colorado to one over here in Nebraska. This one was issued. How long ago was it? Issued 3 minutes ago. So this is very recent. And then there was also a hail. This is over near Wellfleet, Nebraska. And this is also, I mean, this tornado radar indicate rotation, but there were also, I imagine the hill is probably radar confirmed. I would imagine. Just considering that we had a report of 2.25 inch size hail, at least, well, estimated hailstone, not a measured one. Yeah, we got some big old hailstones up here, man. Holy. Yeah, definitely a day where we're seeing. I mean, there is a tornado threat, but definitely seeing more of that. Well, hail threat. Looking at tornado reports, apparently, because what looking at tornado reports here, there was a Ground circulation confirmed in a funnel southeast of Wellfleet, or near, well, southeast of where the tornado report was at least. Near near Wellfleet, which the report itself is actually northwest of Wellfleet. So I don't know what I don't know what I was saying with southeast or whatever I said. So it looks like we had a brief tornado there as well. I should probably see it on here as well. I don't know why I'm looking at the other thing for reports. All right, so here's that report I was talking about over near Wellfleet, that tornado report. Got a couple of hail ports over here. Looks like how old are these hail ports? 10 minutes ago, 11 minutes ago. So a lot of these are very recent with these hail ports there. And a lot of those hail ports are coming in since we have a boatload of storm chasers on that one road. Trying to check some of these reports here. All right, that's tornado range just expired out finally. So right now we have, I mean, we really haven't gone over more than like 2 or 3 tornado warnings at a time for the most part today. It's I mean, been just a lot of brief tornadoes. I will say. Yeah, still, I mean, it's still pretty unstable in atmosphere. I mean, convective inhibition is starting to build in a little bit since we are getting to more nocturnal hours, but our level jet should be kicking in at some point here if it hasn't already, and that'll increase shear. Yeah, there's just absolutely nothing in this severe thunderstorm watch area right now. Adjusting how I'm sitting here. That tornado warning just got updated. So, well, for the most part, I got condensed just north of Wellfleet now in Nebraska there. Wow. Okay, I just saw a picture of that tornado near south of Hoxton. Where is that? I can't remember. It's Hoxton and Hoxton is over in Colorado. So there was indeed a tornado on us down over here. Wow, it is it looks pretty typical for what you see with Colorado tornadoes, where you have a funnel and then little ground circulation. Yeah, a couple of severe swings up here in Montana. So one's warned for a core size hail, and this one's also warned for core size hail, but it has 60 mile per hour winds. Ah, my hand. Ah. I know I did a lot of work earlier today, but holy. Wow, they actually upgraded this to tennis ball size hail with the observed there. With the serial warning. Unless this has been at observed with tennis ball. No, it's just got upgraded to that actually. Okay. I mean, consider we got that one report for that large hailstone there. Got ball cloud report over near ball cloud report east, south, east, north of North Platte. Or well, that's at least where the report's coming out of, not where the ball cloud's at. I'm like, wait a minute. And we have another damaging wind gust over here near Lexington Airport in Nebraska. Almost basically 80 mile per hour winds. Wouldn't be surprised if that gets upgraded at some point. If that does, I don't know. We'll see. So far, most of our hurricane force winds that we've seen over 80 today have been out here in Nebraska. We have not seen. I don't think we've seen anything over that in Kansas, which is where our main wind threat was. We got more storms starting to pop up over here in Kansas, though. I will say. That was one thing I didn't get to finish watching earlier was the um, Dr. Levi Cowan's hurricane season video. That's not like that was like an angry throat clearing. I mean, also while we're at it, I guess we'll take it. We'll talk a little bit about our next severe threat days. I guess, which tomorrow we have one big marginal risk, which is the most interestingly shaped marginal risk I've ever seen in my entire life. But that's how it that's how it's shaped. Wouldn't be surprised if we had a upgrade of some sort tomorrow. Probably, if I had to guess, we probably would either have a wind or hail threat upgrade or both. I don't know about the tornado threat, but definitely wind or hail will probably be upgraded tomorrow. We'll have to see though. And this would be what day is day 3? So that's Monday. which we have a slight risk out here in Colorado, Kansas, Nebraska again. We have a big old Sig 1 area, which the main threats are going to be wind and hail again. Probably a couple tornadoes would be possible on Monday. I think we're eventually gonna be in a we're gonna be having the case again where or I'm gonna be having the case again where I'll be back in the, I don't know if I want to call it routine, but I guess it's in a routine of being alive again after the quiet stretch we had for a couple weeks. Although considering it is June, we'll see how active it is for this month, or not this month, next month, which is tomorrow. Because June also, I kind of call June, and June is like I kind of mark it as like the month where we start seeing more MCSs or business scale convective systems, or we start seeing the cases where we could see derechos during the next few months or so, because you don't have the same patterns as you typically would with like March, April, and May with their tornado season months. And well, obviously tornadoes can happen. Obviously tornadoes can happen outside of tornado season, but it's just a climatological type of things, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the right wording for climatology, but yeah. Apparently, Chasers completely took over a Casey's parking lot earlier in McCook. Oh my god. Casey's is probably like, what is going on if you need these parking lots for customers? They're probably not expecting that big of chaser conversions, probably. Oh wow. So, well, someone who probably works at a news station, but they were Henry Swenson was up in Mount Washington Auto Road just 2 days before June. A lot of got snow over there, which makes sense because it's in the mountains, but it is so weird. I'm in Illinois, so we don't really get snow. Sometimes it gets there's rare cases where we've gotten snow outside of January, February, and all that, but we don't see snow and you're outside of that typically. So it's weird seeing snow outside of that. All right, we have another severe dust one SP for 7 mile per hour winds. We have almost well, it's not quite a vortex type of look to it, but all right, we got 19 minutes on that tornado warning. We'll see what they do with that. This tornado warning is National Service Boulder. This one's North Platte. Okay, they ended up canceling it out. Like they're still so warm from my ankle and all that's itching, but I have my brace on. Holy dings from weatherwise. With a bunch of warnings that just got issued. Or two of them I got issued, but still. One's one for course side sales 70, and the other's one for quarter and 60. Alright, I saw a post from Kyle J. Gillette. Storms really seem to be struggling with inflow outflow balance this evening, both in northeast and northeast, both in Nebraska and Kansas. Level of storm relative winds is 20 knots. Right moving storms combined out with deep inverted V. Cool downdrafts. Weak eventing. Sport primarily outflow dominant messy mode, which is pretty. I mean, it is pretty outflow dominant. I mean, we can see the damage and wind threat with a lot of this, and we haven't really seen too many discrete cells. So that also kind of builds on top of that. All right, I'm kind of curious what watches. I mean, no, I know the watch is eventually extended over here, but I don't know if they're gonna extend any watches out over here. We'll see though. Probably we'll see within the next probably half hour or so. With what we're seeing with if we're seeing anything with severe threat out here. It looks like our outflows are still making their way towards each other. Whoa, excuse me. All right, they new day one outlook is how it looks like, which they not surprised unsurprisingly they dropped it to a slight risk. I say unsurprisingly, but sometimes they just maintain a risk. Even at the 8 o'clock hour. All right, so the categorical is out, so we still gotta wait for the other things to come out. So we'll wait on those, and once those come out, we'll fully look at the new outlook. And from there, and then I guess from there we'll end up the stream for this evening because it doesn't seem like there's gonna be too much of anything that I'll be. I mean, still could have a tornado threat, but it doesn't seem like we'll have too much of anything yet to be concerning in terms of the strong tornado threat. We're definitely gonna be more of a wind and hail threat for the most part, but they canceled Watch 255, which probably is not that. That's 252. Now there's a watch up here. I don't know what 255. Oh, that was the one down here in Texas, Oklahoma. What am I on about? Refresh. Refresh. Okay, so they still kept the 5% SIG 1. Which I guess I wasn't really expecting. Considering that a lot of this has been pretty linear for the most part. It hasn't updated at least fully on the. It has updated fully on the actual site though, and at the partner site. All right, so here's the new Outlook that just came out. So we no longer have a slight risk in place now, but we do have a well. We don't have the enhanced, but we now have this just mainly a slight risk. So here's your 5%, which is in this half here, which I mean, which is where we've been seeing most of our tornadoes in these sections here, anyways, for the most part. But here's your damaging wind. They completely dropped at 30%, so they're keeping that as a 15% with Sig 1 for damaging winds, and then their hail is still pretty much the same. The other things that have really changed is our wind and hail. I mean, obviously, some areas have been kind of changed around with where they're kind of at for the most part, where they're either expanded or, well, shrunk. But I think most of them have been shrunk and whatnot. Yeah, so got a tornado threat out. See if the actually I think this should be updated on here. Yeah, it's updated on here. So there's your 5% area. There's your wind, and then there's your hail. I mean, definitely had more of a hurricane force damaging winds up here in Nebraska and Colorado. Well, more of the wind reports out in Nebraska than Kansas and Nebraska actually had quite a few wind reports, but we're seeing more of the hurricane force damaging winds up here in Nebraska, especially a couple of them that were over 80 mile per hour winds or near that threshold. They condensed that tornado warning out here in Colorado. Also, this is well, I mean, this is the last day of, well, not last day of the month. Still got May 31st. What did I think I said hurricane season starts tomorrow, didn't I? Holy, I just had most probably time dilation moment known to man. No, tomorrow is Sunday. It's May 31st. June 1st is on Monday. What am I on about this couple days, man? Holy. Oh. Yeah, so far for most part, I mean, I've not really seen I haven't really seen too much so far. All right, well, so for the most part, I mean, it's been mainly just wind and hail threat. I haven't seen any new tornado ports or anything either. There's a new winter port up here though, from 15 minutes ago, near Whitman in Nebraska. So there indeed was a tornado near Wellfleet. I just saw because Matthew Capucci's mom is out there. It looks like chasing a tornado chasing. That. So here's Monday. I'm kind of curious. See what Monday looks like. Let me take a look at. I don't know what model I want to look at. Probably Euro, because I usually look at the Euro. Yeah, even on Monday, it's still quite a bit of moisture. Like pretty much going like oh let me go over to so here is the Euro. So 12Z this morning going into the next update. So here's Sunday morning going through Sunday and Sunday not Monday Sunday Monday morning. Still got a lot of moisture. Basically going through the rest of this week, still got a bunch of moisture still, which will be enough force to get just enough to get severe storms going for the most part. But the question is where our force? Ooh, that's interesting. There is a little bit. Looks like a little bit of a short wave. Will be interesting to see if that does anything. Probably at least a lower end type of probably type of thing if I had to guess for severe weather. Weather models are definitely underdoing. I mean, this is showing around 2,000, but yeah, weather models are definitely underdoing I mean, this is globals, but weather models are definitely underdoing, or at least the globals are underdoing the amount of instability. The NAM for, but let me go to Monday. Yeah, NAM has a bunch of instability on Monday. Got well into the 5,000. Some areas I feel like I definitely have more than the probably 3,000 on Monday. And you see, still even on Tuesday, there's a bunch of instability too. How much instability is that? Is that like that's over 5,000 instability there? What about the wrap model? Let me go to 15Z because 15Z will have all the hours. Because even though the wrap model is lagged 3 hours, but there's certain hours that will have more hours than others. So 15Z, 21Z will have the most hours of all. But you can see on 21Z wrap, yeah, you can see a lot of instability between Kansas, Arkansas, and all that. Where's our... So, yeah, the wrap has on Monday, going into Monday, I should say, it has this ridge. So we have a northwesterly flow, which I know people have been talking a lot about our severe threat, which the SPC right now has this area here between Colorado, Kansas, all that, that is within that slight rest right now. I'm kind of curious if we do get something that is expanded out towards the like east or something, because a lot of people are talking about like the Rachel MCS potential, which I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with that. I guess if that is indeed happening or going to happen, but I mean, with the ratios and whatnot, you do get the cases where they'll run along northwest flow. Here's the HRRR, which does here on COD it don't have upper level stuff, but they do on Pivot Weather, so we'll look at that, I guess. Which there's only 18 hours, so that's not gonna get us too far in. We could go to 12Z actually. Hold on. Yeah, even the HRRR is kind of showing that same thing that the wrap was showing. If you go back to the wrap, I'm not using the right now. I'm not using. You can see, yeah, even on Pivot Weather, you can see Pivot Weather has a lot more hours available than College YouTube page, but you can see even on the wrap, you can see that similar area that that's being pinpointed for severe weather on Monday, where we have that lift at 500. Well, it's 700. Because that's kind of where I'm trying to figure out, do we have some type of shortwave of some sorts there? Which, I mean, 700 doesn't look super impressive. What, 300? Even 300. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's super strong. Because, it's gonna be. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be super strong in terms of things, at least with what the wrap is showing. But if we go to NAM, which we'll be able to go a little bit more. Even on a NAM, it's kind of showing that same story almost. Well, it's 700. Yeah, you can see a little bit more of a response at 700 on the NAM compared to with the other two. You know what? While we're at it, I guess we'll look at the RFS. Why not? I guess. Which the RFS is not showing. No. Let me go to models loop. Monday 12Z. See where they all have it at the 700 at the morning hours. So I mean, they all have a general area. Even in the Canadian miles, the Canadian this one Canadian mile, they all have the low being up here, all that forcing being all up north. Although there's some that are a little bit more south. The M passes are showing a little bit more south. Here's the I forget which. This is the RFS M pass, which is supposedly better than the regular RFS that we're seeing right now. Because the RFS that we have access right now on Painful Weather is the Pro type one. The one that's supposed to be coming in August is supposed to be much better than what we're seeing on that. Okay, so all the miles, I mean, they're all showing that same little area. Even the AI models are showing all that area there at 12. All right, let me go to 18Z. Actually, let me go 21Z. Which 21Z we don't really have a whole lot of models. We do have some of our medium range models, but we start moving over to more of our global models at this range. And yeah, you can see. Yeah. Let me go over to temperatures. I mean, it's still be. I mean, either way, considering it's literally May still, so it's gonna be. Well, June 1st is going into June, but you can see it's still gonna be a lot of moisture. The GFS is showing moisture going all the way up here. Here's your M pass, which your M passes are a little bit different when it comes to the placement of moisture. Ours at GFS and NAM are pretty similar. The NAM 3K is, could be similar to its counterpart. RAP is actually pretty. The RAP actually could be pretty close in proximity to the NAM. And yeah, I think pretty much with all the models, they all have. With what we're seeing in this range right now, they're all pretty similar to where they're sitting at in terms of moisture. I'm kind of curious. I wonder if we may have like a small area of severe weather up here in Canada, because there is moisture. I don't know about the forcing though, but we definitely have the moisture up there for some storm. All right, they're allowing this tornado warning to expire out, so I think it's be good for this stream. I don't know. I might be live on Monday. We'll see what happens, I guess. Other than that, I don't know what days I'll be live with the next few days or so, because the next few months are gonna be one of those days where we can get the synaptic setups, but there's definitely gonna be a lot of mesoscale type setups that will produce severe weather, and we'll be in the period where we're gonna be like, all right, what's gonna look like for today for severe weather. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next stream I do. Not sure when it'll be, but obviously I'll let you guys know in the community tab where I usually post things. Stay safe out there, have multiple way scale alerts, and yeah, I am out.